Tuna Moon made me cry twice. That's the video. Thanks for watching. I have wanted to make a video about this game for over 2 years now, and I have finally gotten around to actually doing it. Released back in 2010, Tuna Moon made waves online, but unfortunately has seemed to be forgotten about by the wider gaming community. And to be completely honest, that is a real shame. So yeah, I just wanted to yap about it for a bit, and hopefully convince one of you guys to play it too. Without further ado, let's begin to unwrap Tuna Moon. To be completely honest, no, why would you want to even bother picking up this game, let alone actually pay money for it? Like, come on. Judging by the footage I've shown you, there are countless games like this that I can get on Steam for free. Well, I think there is one major answer to that question. All you need to know so far is that it was published by Serenity Forge, who also is the publisher of the most famous You Need to Play Through This Blind game of all time, because it all comes back to you. Seriously, no. This game is full of those, so that's why that was put there moments. That is what makes a good story in my opinion. All your questions about just what is going on are answered by the ending, and answered well at that. So if any of what I've said so far is of interest, I implore that you click off this video. It's normally around $10, but you can most likely pick it up for as little as $3 if you catch it on sale. This is your last chance to play the game blind. However, if you've also played for the game and instead want to listen to me actually analyse Tuna Moon, just skip to the next part of this video's timeline. The timestamp should be on the screen now. Just to really quickly say, the following section is a retelling of the story from the perspective of someone going through the game blind. I will be holding most of my punches in terms of actual analysis here, so please bear with me because all of this is necessary for me to get to what I actually want to talk about.
And now for something completely different.
We begin the game as Dr. Eva Rosaline and Dr. Neil Watts, in the immediate aftermath of a little whoopsie that Neil did. After pushing over a boulder on God, we arrive at the location that we will be spending around 80% of the game with. We are introduced to Lily and her kids Sarah and Tommy, and we get a little bit of context on what's going on. Neil and Eva are employees of a company that allows dying people to relive an altered version of their life, and Johnny, their client, wants to go to the moon. The issue is, that's all we know. Because we're awesome. So I get Neil to explore around the house to gather a clue to about who or what this guy is. After bribing the kids of candy canes, they show him Johnny's funny basement room, which wasn't full of bodies, like I was expecting, but rather origami rabbits and a platypus. I'm sure this is just a random puzzle item and has no deep emotional ramifications. After blaming the whoopsie he did earlier on Eva and attempting to throw a shoe at a squirrel, Neil is shown the lighthouse, and they go inside and climb it to find even more of the origami rabbits that is a different colour than the rest. So of course Neil, being the kleptomaniac he is, yoinks it. After going back to the bedroom, Eva and Neil begin the process of changing Johnny's memories by immediately traumatising the old man by erasing his friend and employee. They're the good guys, I swear. It's also here that I learn about the main game mechanic of Tuna Moon for now, which is finding various mementos of Johnny and using them to travel back through his mind. Tuna Moon is very exploration oriented, where you need to interact with your surroundings and each memory quite a bit. And to be honest, it's a really relaxed gameplay loop that I really enjoyed. And the actual preparation of the mementos are nice little brain teasers, which actually require me to be like a little bit intelligent to get the optimal score on, although score means absolutely fuck all. After learning about Johnny's wife River, and coming up with a theory of what happened, so did she... Sayori. That theory is immediately proven wrong in the next memory, But what actually happened to River is honestly a lot sadder. It's at this point where we meet Johnny's best friend Nicholas and his wife Isabel, and we also learn that Johnny is just a genuine guy who wants to not be alone, and that's why he lied to River about their financial situation. After Eva puts Neil through actual torture in forcing him to eat 2 entire jars of pickled olives to get the next memento, we learn in the next memory why the house is in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, and it's so that the couple can always watch over the lighthouse, which River seems to have a strange attachment towards. Push him off. Push him off. Yeah! In the next major memory, we also find out that River seems to be distant towards Johnny for some reason, and that he has a love for the Animorphs book series. I'm sure that this little tidbit is just a funny quirk about Johnny and won't lead into a deep I then decided to cheat at the next puzzle by googling it, failed, and then had to find out some Animorphs trivia to access the next memory. Yippee! After finding out that Johnny and River got married on the side of the lighthouse, we are then given one of the scenes that To the Moon is most well known for. Oh my god, is this the bit where they dance? And honestly, I just wanted to point this part out in particular because it's just plain wholesome. We then meet Johnny's mum, who for some reason calls him Joey after his grandfather on God. It's also at this point where I want to talk a little more in depth about our protagonists. Eva has already kind of shown to be an interesting character if you ask me. It's clear that all she really wants is to get the job done. But I personally like the fact that she has her own little sentimental moments, like when she was kind to Johnny who was mourning River. Neil, on the other hand, is just kind of a dickhead, although it is really played for laughs. He's a bit of a hypocrite, as well as someone who can't really abide by anything sentimental. But, at the same time, can you really blame him? His job is to give dying people the life that they wanted to live. So, I suppose you do have to harden your heart to the memories. So far, pretty interesting characters, even for this point in the story. We are next transported to a memory where we are in some kind of ranch. So, of course, Neil, being the little man-baby he is, wants to ride the little horsey. And, of course, he immediately loses control of it, which allows Eva the excuse to commandeer a horse of her own. Because I certainly knew what I was meant to be doing. After knocking Neil off his horse genuinely by accident, I was allowed to progress to the next memory. The next memory is a little strange, due to it being set in what appears to be a doctor's surgery, with said doctor giving some kind of diagnosis to River, referring her to that ranch we were just in, as well as handing her a book offered by neurologist Tony Atwood. This is something I'm gonna get into when I really get into the meat and potatoes of this game later on in the video, but all I'm gonna say for now is that River has just received an autism diagnosis, and that is made fairly obvious by the fact that Tony Atwood is most well known for his publications about ASD. Again, I'll give my own thoughts on this part of River's character later, since doing it now would derail the pace of this already stupidly long and chaotic video. But just know that, for now, both Isabel and River are autistic, and Johnny and Nicholas are neurotypical. We are now transported to when Johnny was in his teens, and Eva and Neil watch as he gets stood up on a date. Sucks to suck. And as much as I think Neil is a dickhead, I totally agree with him here. Oh wait, there's River. Come on, Johnny. The date has already been a disaster, but you can still salvage it. Never fucking mind. 10 out of 10 way to handle that. Somehow, no? She still wants to watch the movie with him? How cute. Now, Johnny is trying to prepare himself to ask out River. And, well, I'm amazed that they stayed together their whole lives. But at the same time, I will happily deal with this bullshit just to watch Neil get bullied. Neil Watts haters, stand with me please. We then watch as River does what I do whenever someone mentions that they like a game I like. Kind of like what I'm doing in this video, in fact. Either way, we managed to leap again, so that's something I suppose. We are then treated to an honestly really strange memory where Johnny's mother is just generally being really distant towards him. We see another instance of her calling him Joey, which means I guess it was truly a childhood nickname, but then something really strange happens. I'm gonna take a pause here to say that congratulations, we have reached the halfway point of the game. To be completely honest, I'm really happy that you've tolerated my rambling for the last fuck knows how many minutes, but just know that everything I've said is relevant to this story in some way, however stupid it is. And now I can safely say that everything from here on in will start to make a little more sense, and that the pieces that I have laid out will start to actually join together into the puzzle that is To the Moon. This part of the game is reasonably simple. We just need to connect the different periods of Johnny's life by allowing interconnected mementos to match up with each other. Pretty neat stuff if I do say so myself. Now all we need to do is actually give him the desire to go to the moon, and hey, we've done it! We've fulfilled Johnny's last
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, to say that all that failed would be an understatement, and it's at this point where our dynamic duo decides to take a break, and, like, actually get a little bit of sleep. It's also after this point that the game started to break my heart. With Neil on the phone to his superiors, Eva learns a little bit more about Lily and her kids, and to be completely honest, it's just kind of sad when you think about it. Like, I'm not actually gonna make like any jokes or anything, but we're not given much time to dwell on it, because Neil has just found out that the things that are fucking Johnny's childhood memories were beta blockers that he needed to take. But the good news is that maybe we can kickstart that sort of memory recall through smell. So of course our gamer strat here is to take the little bit of roadkill that Neil attended to it. However, while getting something to put the roadkill in, Eva happens across a container of pills. I'm sure that this won't be relevant to any future game. The plan to get Johnny's childhood memories for dead animals actually works somehow, and we're in. But something feels different. Those memories must well and truly be corrupted, but onwards to find the root of allness, I guess. It's like this heartbeat. Oh. Welcome to your first answer to the puzzle that is To the Moon. Joey wasn't Johnny's granddad, but instead his twin brother. It explains his mother being a little strange, and it goes a long way to explaining his fear of being alone, if you ask me, because somewhere that memory of his brother getting hit had lingered. But let's continue going through his memories for now. Yeah, so remember Animorphs, that book series that Johnny supposedly loved when he was a kid? Well, it turns out that Joey loved it instead. Was his identity swapped with his twins or something after the accident? Well, the next memory immediately supports that little theory I cooked up, as it shows that Joey is both the favoured child as well as a lover of pickled olives. However, what happens next is easily the biggest bombshell the game drops on you, and, well, I think it's best I just let this play out. Oh my... I swear I haven't played this game before. No, I swear I haven't played it before. And here we have it. Every question that I had was answered in this one scene. And to be completely honest, the truth is kind of heartbreaking. Johnny's wish to go to the moon was just so that he could regroup with the person who he loved. The woman he loved was by his side almost his whole life, so his final wish was genuinely for nothing. But let's talk about River here as well, because this also helps to contextualize everything, even down to that stupid platypus he always carried around. It explained why she made Origami Rabbit, even that coloured one, because what was its colour again? Indigo and yellow, and the colours of those represent no. Unfortunately for us, we still have a contract to uphold, and Eva intends on doing that whether we like it or not. It's at this point that I, for the first time since booting this game up, actually agree with Neil on something other than emo teenagers are annoying, and I aid him as he desperately tries to stop Eva from changing Johnny's memories, because to get him to the moon, we need to take the one person out of that equation and replace her with another. This situation is fucked. It's a shame that Neil didn't really have a choice in the matter, no, and Eva gets what she wants. Here's one last thing. Come on, they're gonna hold all the good tables. All the same, sheesh. So no.
Short steps,
No.
deep breath.
No, don't do this to me.
Everything
Don't fucking do this to me,
is
game.
alright.
Don't you dare do this to me.
Chin
No.
up,
No.
I can't step into the spotlight. She said I'm sad, somehow without any words. I just stood there, searching for an answer. When this world is no more, the moon is all we'll see. I'll ask you to fly away with me until the stars all fall down. They empty from the sky, but I don't mind. If you're with me, then everything's alright. If you're with me, then everything's alright.
Please. To be completely honest, I think Neil puts how I felt by this point really succinctly in this one line of dialogue. This isn't a success, but there is still work to be done, so it's off to explore NASA, I suppose. Yo! Yeah! It's at this point where we can well and truly say that Eva and Neil have succeeded in their goal, and it seems that it was just in the nick of time as well. No, not the lighthouse. Don't make me cry a third time, game. Now, if you ask me, To the Moon is a tragedy more than anything. It's a story about regret, longing for more, and how one event can completely derail someone's life. But there is beauty in tragedy, such as how Johnny, despite everything, remembered his promise to River in their first meeting, and made it his dying wish to regroup with her on the moon. But how do we unwrap this box of emotional instability? I suppose we could start on our main four characters: Eva, Neil, Johnny, and River. I'm gonna expand a little on what I said about both Eva and Neil, so let's start with Eva. I think Eva is a lot more interesting of a character now, especially since we see a lot of the third act of the game through the eyes of Neil, who barely has a clue what the fuck she's doing. At first glance, it seems that she just hates her colleague, but after playing through the game, it's clear that Eva does care for him a lot. And although they do have a very snarky and sharp dynamic, she is more than willing to share some nice moments with him when they can just be friends, like when they sit on the bridge together to watch the rocket take off in the ending. Despite her seemingly breaking standard procedure early on in the game, with her pranking Neil in the Olive's memory, or being kind to a grieving Johnny when she really didn't need to be, she was the one who pushed to uphold their contract in the end, and actually saw through what happened. All in all, a well-written character who we learn a surprising amount about in the game's very short runtime. Now on to Neil. I honestly think that the implied painkiller addiction adds a lot more to his character, and explains a lot of the more assholey aspects of him, due to the possibility of him going through withdrawal. However, this isn't really expanded on much in To the Moon, although I can say for certain, despite not actually playing the game itself, that this will be expanded on in the sequel of this game, Finding Paradise. I also really liked Neil's quips, and although the dialogue was very much 2010, many of his scenes made me laugh a lot, such as when he gave that NASA presentation, which honestly got a fair few laughs out of me. I also like that he represented what I personally felt in that last quarter of the game, and looking back, it is honestly unsettling to see the resemblance between mine and his reactions to the events surrounding him. So, well done, Freebird. Segueing into Johnny will be pretty difficult, as he and River are radically different to Neil and Eva. I think that most of Johnny's character is just kind of sad, due to the fact that it feels like his life was stolen from him due to Joey's death. It's clear that this derailed his life, and his mother coping by making him Joey, as well as the beta blockers, really hammered in an inferiority complex, because he was forced to fill the shoes of someone who he just didn't want to be, as well as yearning for something more, just out of reach. But he could never fully recall why he wants it, or really what exactly is making him feel so empty inside. In my opinion, Johnny was a good stand-up guy who just got dealt a shitty hand in life, and although he could have made some better choices, like reading into River's autism, like, at all, I think that he certainly didn't deserve the fate he had in the end. But if you think all that's depressing, I have saved the best till last. River. Dear God, River. Everything about her is just tragic. There is the obvious fact that she remembered her first ever meeting with Johnny. The meeting where he gave her that plushie that she kept her whole life. But he didn't remember. That, and the fact that she had a lot of trouble communicating due to her disability, was simply a recipe for disaster. And the worst part is that none of it was her fault. All she wanted to do was protect her lighthouse, and remind her love of the first time they ever met. And she died failing in that. Her final rabbit being a desperate attempt to get him to recollect the moon, and the promise they'd regroup on it. Eva and Neil managed to complete Johnny's story, to get him to remember everything. But by that point it was just too late, and River died without ever actually being understood. Wow, that was very sad. I think it's about time that I stop wallowing in the tragedy of this game and instead give my thoughts on the themes. The first thing I want to talk about is how much of the story is just how Tournament absolutely fucking nails the bait and switch plot in a way that just scratches my brain right with how they wrote Johnny's relationship with River. At first, that whole part of the story just comes off as an, oh, she doesn't understand him, we've all seen it before, get off my screen. But then it completely flips all that on its head in Act 3. I really, really love the twist that River was the one who remembered their first meeting. It completely flips the neurotypical person trying to get through to a neurodivergent plot that we've all seen before. And the game using that revelation to contextualize all of River's actions, even down to her attachment to that stupid fucking platypus, which is arguably the most depressing action she takes in the game, second only to the rabbit. And I think that the one scene when they meet just wraps everything together so well in the end. The next large theme of Tournament that I want to yap about is just how well the other main twist, that being Joey's death, is executed, as it manages to single-handedly explain the beta blockers and why Johnny's mum was so distant towards him and why she had that nickname for him. And I think that his and Joey's personalities being sort of one of the same after the fact, there's just another layer to the tragedy. And the worst part is that we don't know for sure how Johnny changing happened because of the beta blockers. I personally think that while he was on the beta blockers, his mother used the fact that he was on those drugs to sort of groom him to be more like Joey, with the whole animorphs and olives parts of his personality, as we know he despised olives and wasn't interested in animorphs before what happened, as well as her nickname for him being Joey. It could just be down to grief, and of course what I'm saying has never been confirmed, but I do think that there is something a bit insidious going on between Johnny and his mother, but that is just me putting on a fucking tinfoil hat. I also want to talk about a little something that I touched on a bit earlier, a lot more in depth, that being River's autism. River is, in my opinion, one of the most realistic and heartfelt depictions of what living with autism is like that I've ever seen in a video game. Now, I understand that everyone on the spectrum is a little bit unique in their own way, but as someone who has ASD, it's a part of the game that is handled in such an honest and earnest way that you just don't really see in other games, let alone in most other media. And I really appreciate the references that the game makes to the condition, such as mentioning the amazing work of Tony Atwood, and also showing in such a direct way the line of thinking that some people with ASD have, such as River genuinely not knowing she stood up Johnny during their first date. And it makes for a really relatable part of the story that just elevated an already emotionally mature game in my eyes. However, I do have one criticism for this. That being that, really early in the game, I personally don't like how they handle Isabel. For example, the part where she chastises Johnny for lying to River, it just feels like the game is making him out to be in the wrong, even though I can totally see where he's coming from, and I would genuinely do the same thing if I was in Johnny's position. However, one thing that deserves nothing but praise in my opinion is the music. You have probably not heard of the main composers for Tournament's OST, Kao Gao and Laura Shigihara, but I can guarantee that you have heard of Laura Shigihara's work before, because she is most well known for composing the fucking masterpiece that is the Plants vs Zombies OST, as well as being credited in various other incredibly well-known games such as Deltarune, Super Meat Boy, and even World of Warcraft. The music that she has made for this game absolutely carried the more emotional beats, elevating the scenes from corny as hell, trust me I'm getting to that, to actually really emotional. Everything's Alright alone deserves to be up there with the Your Realities and Undertales of songs that you play when you feel like crying but actually can't. And I personally think that she deserves so much more recognition for her work than she already has. However, as much as I recommend and praise this game, I do need to temper it with some criticisms. As I mentioned earlier, the dialogue can be really weak sometimes. The jokes, although sometimes they can actually be really funny, are very 2010 and fall flat most of the time. This is especially detrimental to the first act of the game, when it is giving us the puzzle pieces that we need to break emotionally. The dialogue is bloody corny, and although that works sometimes in the game's favour and can be really charming, it can take you away from the experience and can be difficult to read at times. That, no, is just a matter of opinion. The next criticism I have is why I think To the Moon never really made it to the cult-like classics that other Serenity Forge games like DDLC Plus and Slain the Princess did. Act 1 is pretty fucking boring. The 2 hours I spent on it felt a lot longer, and although I literally interacted with everything I could, it still dragged on a little bit. And this, alongside the corny ass dialogue, is why I think a lot of people don't understand why To the Moon is so loved. And that is a shame, since Acts 2 and 3 are genuinely masterpieces of storytelling and emotional damage. But I can totally see why a lot of people quit at Act 1, or had their views on this game made more negative because of that fact. But that is honestly all the criticisms I have for this game. So, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on To the Moon. I think that Freebird absolutely nailed the bait and switch story that made me love games like Doki Doki Literature Club, with how they wrote River's character, and also just how depressing Johnny's story is when you think about it. Now, I know there are 2 sequels to this game, with Finding Paradise and Imposter Factory, and I will be playing those games in my own time. If you want another yapathon on those games, leave a comment or something, I don't know. But yeah, you've officially earned a new fan, Freebird. And I also sincerely hope that I've convinced some of you guys watching to play their games too. That's honestly all I really wanted to say about To the Moon. Thank you so much for bearing with me and subjecting yourself to an objectively insane person's ramblings about a random 2010 indie game. This is by far the most effort I've ever put into a video before, so for the first time, I'm gonna ask you to like and subscribe if you haven't already, since I've put weeks of my spare time into videos like this. So, I hope you enjoyed all this, and I'll hopefully catch you in another video. See ya!